Hi, I'm Matt Fletcher. I'm a certified home inspector. I also have a master's degree in teaching, and I'm a state certified construction teacher. I'd like to go over a couple of things here in the basement that I look at when I'm doing a home inspection on a typical house. On the furnace, I look inside, and there's usually a date in here that tells me how old it is. I also look at the general condition of the components inside, and I'll do a carbon monoxide test on it as well. On the hot water tank, there's also a manufacture date on here too. You have to decipher the numbers here, and it tells you basically the month and year that it was made. I also look at the water connections here to make sure they're okay, and that the unit is exhausting correctly up into the chimney, the masonry chimney over there. All these metal joints should be screwed together like this one is. That's for safety. On the structural components in the basement, I'm looking for splits in the joists like this one. See that there? It's split. That's about a 5-foot long split in this floor joist. And what's happening is there's a bedroom wall on top of here, and there's a lot of weight pushing down, and it split this joist. This is a really old house built in the 20s, and they actually won't let you build a house like this anymore. They'd make you frame this differently. So that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for in these old houses on the structural things. This is one of the poles holding up the house. It's the I-beam sitting on top of this, or this is a wood beam in this case, and this metal pole goes all the way down to the floor, and then there's a cement block under the floor that it's sitting on. And this is holding up the whole house. As you see over here, there was a pole right here in this house. I can see where it went in the floor right here, and it's gone. Someone took it out, maybe because they have these weights in here. Maybe they had, something else here, but they've removed this pole. It doesn't seem to be causing a problem, but that's one of the things I'm looking for when I'm looking at one of these old houses and the structural components. On the plumbing on this house, this has got what's called CPVC plastic plumbing, which is pretty good stuff. It got a bad reputation back in the 70s, a polybutylene pipe. A lot of the elbows cracked and caused a lot of water damage in houses, but they've got it dialed in now. This is pretty good stuff. I've plumbed 3 of my own houses with this product, and I like it a lot. And it's a lot cheaper than copper. See these marks on this wall right here? This is called efflorescence. And what's happening is water is coming through the block, and as it comes through, it washes some of the minerals out of the block. There's lime and different things in the concrete. And it washes it out, and it accumulates on the inside here like this. So we know that this foundation is leaking. And it might not leak a lot, but it definitely leaks at least a little bit, and it's been doing it over a long period of time. On some of the electrical components I noticed in this house, there's a cover missing on this electrical box right here, which is no big deal. It's easy to correct. In here, this is a nice updated 100 amp breaker service that they put in this old house. And there's just one problem with it. There's a breaker missing right here. Looks like they put a breaker in, then they took it back out for some reason. And you should put a blank in there. There's a little insert that goes in there so that no one can stick their finger in there and get electrocuted. Or you could just put it, there's an extra breaker laying up here on top. You could just put the extra breaker in and just leave it turned off. And this panel's properly grounded. I can see it's got a good ground going to it, and there's a ground rod outside that I already noticed when I was outside. So this is a pretty good setup here. One of the things I check in the kitchen is I turn the water on and check the water pressure. I run the disposal and I check for leaks under here. Check the sprayer. Make sure that's working. Run the water on both sides of the sink to make sure it's not leaking from either bowl. Also in the kitchen, I check to make sure all the plugs are GFI protected on the countertops. And if the appliances go with the house, I check the appliances too. I make sure all the burners work on the stove, the ice maker works on the refrigerator. So briefly, that's some of the things that I check when I'm inspecting a house. In total, I look at between 200 and 400 things on a typical house. You get a written report when I'm finished, and I'll be there 2 to 3 hours on even a smaller house, and if it's a big old house, I might be there 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 hours in some cases. So if you want a good thorough home inspection done, give me a call. Matt Fletcher Home Inspections, 313-510-0284. I serve Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties.